Amen. So, just wanted to get the blue sheet so that I could reference things. The thing that jumped out at me this morning about these readings was the phrase by the apostles that said, "Increase our faith." Kind of a command that they made to Jesus. And in thinking about faith, I came up with 3 different scenarios, 3 different little stories that I would like to share with you from my own personal journey. And the first was, as many of you know, I'm sober in recovery with my alcoholism. And when I first got sober, I made my way to Trinity Church, Newport. And during that time that I went there, I signed my name in the little book like we do out here, and lo and behold, the rector came to see me. I was not happy about that. Because I thought, oh great, here comes the sales pitch, like get the pledge out and do this and do that and join us. And so I wasn't very excited about it, so I thought I would do the shock factor with him. And I said, I really don't know if Jesus was really crucified and then dead and then put in the tomb and raised from the dead. I don't know that I believe all that. And I just left it with him, and he looked at me with a great kindness. And he said, well, what I believe is that serious doubt leads to serious faith. I was stuck. What could I say, It was such a wonderful and true response that freed me to say it is okay to be who I am, where I am on this journey. And I was just captivated by that. And it has served me well over the 40 years since. And I believe today that I have a deep faith. And I certainly have gone through not only that doubting period when I first came back to the church, but throughout my journey. There are times, I think, in each of our lives when life circumstances or whatever is going on in my own internal growth as an adult makes me question, what am I believing in? What am I really placing all of my bets on? And so it's like the doubt comes and it's satisfied and my faith increases, whatever that means. And I'm not exactly sure how we measure this thing called faith. But the second thing that happened was in a sermon at the same church, as a matter of fact. No, I'm sorry, it was at my next church. But the minister said, the preacher said, God has no grandchildren. God has no grandchildren. And in the reading from Timothy this morning, we hear them talking about, I'm reminded of your sincere faith, a faith that lived first in your grandmother Lois and your mother Eunice, and now I am sure lives in you. And so I really, prior to my own intentional spiritual journey after I got sober, prior to that, it was always like, well, my parents believe. My father believes, my mother believes, so I should believe. And I went to the church and those people believe, so I should believe. And it was somebody else's faith that I was trying to put my hooks into. And that just doesn't work because God doesn't have any grandchildren. We're all children of God. We have our own relationship and it can't go through somebody else. We have to make our own way into that relationship. And so that was very important to me also because what that enabled me to do was let go of all the things that I disagreed with that I had been taught in the church that I was raised in. Because it was very fundamentalist and it was very, you've heard me talk about it before. It didn't bear the fruit that I wanted to have in my life. And so that was the second really important thing that I heard on my faith journey. God has no grandchildren. That meant that I had to do the work myself. And not only that I had to do it, but that it was already established. Because God was my father, or my mother, or however you want to designate that relationship. It was my relationship. It wasn't based on anybody around me who went before me, who was walking with me, or who would come after me. And it has also served me well in terms of being a parent. and how it is that I view my children and their faith journeys, and knowing that the only thing that Ann and I can do for our children is pray for them, and pray that they have a deep relationship and a deep knowledge and personal relationship with the God of their understanding. And so the last thing that I wanted to share about this concept of faith, many of you took the YES curriculum with me, and where we say yes to God, yes to self, yes to neighbor. And I am engaged in teaching one of those again over at St. Columba's. And this past Wednesday, it was the second workshop, and it was on our relationship with God. And it talks about faith in there. And I was reminded of another one of my favorite phrases about faith. And that is that the opposite of faith is certainty. Certainty. I am certain that this is true. I am certain that that is true. And when I am certain, when I believe that what I know is the absolute truth, then I am not open. And so that if I am not open to other viewpoints, to other experiences, to other inspiration, I can't grow. And certainly when you look at faith and say, that's it, that's what I believe, period, I am certain of that, then there's no opportunity for God to work with me. There's no opportunity for me to go deeper and deeper and deeper in this faith journey that I'm on. And so that's what I'd like to leave you with this morning, is that those 3 small little snippets that have served me so well over time is that serious doubt leads to serious faith. God has no grandchildren, and the opposite of faith is certainty, and that we need to be open. And then that faith can increase, I believe, as the disciples were asking Jesus to help them with. I have not yet moved a mulberry tree, and I suspect it's because I don't know what a mulberry tree is. So if you see one, let me know, and I will test my faith, because I do believe in what Jesus says, that this faith that is a gift that continues to grow. The other thing that the YES program talks about, we can understand our faith by the fruits of that faith. And so in testing whether or not what I believe is truth, that when that faith is translated into belief, all I need to do is look at the effects of that truth. And that will tell me whether or not I'm on the right track or if I need to go further. The fruits of the Spirit are love, and for me, justice, and for me, acceptance, and all those things. And so as long as those are the fruits of my faith, then I'm okay with not moving a mulberry tree. Amen.